There can be only one podcast, and may it be the Prince of the Universe. Hi, folks. I'm Matt.
I'm Bruce.
And I'm Steven.
Let's do this.
All right.
Judas Unchained. Django Unchained.
Django.
What came first, Django or Judas?
Unchained. Django
Judas.
goes back to the 50s or 60s.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh, really? The story has?
Yeah, the Django is.
So what does Judas Unchained have to do with Django Unchained? That's what I don't understand.
Nothing at all. They're both unchained.
They're both unchained.
Just like
Good.
that melody.
Good. The one connection from these books that I can totally understand.
Now, what I want to know is, are we going to let Steven pick any more books for this?
Oh, come on. Come on, you small-minded.
You're gonna have to lead this one, man. This is
Really?
This was so all over the place. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with them. We don't focus on any character. We don't know who our main character is. I'm still confused about who the bad guy was. I know Morning Light Mountain Sunshine Rainbow Face guy,
Which I wanted more of. I like
just
him.
brilliant. But I mean, he was interesting, but not with Rainbow Mountain Face or whatever his name was. Light Meadow Shadow.
Morning
I'm
Light
fine
Mountain.
with his
Morning
name. I'm
Wood
fine with his
Mountain.
name. It was translated to English.
But the thing is though, he wasn't really in it that much.
No, he wasn't. He was.
So
It's not about
have his
him. It's
presence-
about an
I know.
alien invasion.
Yeah, and I get that, and you know the wormholes opening up everywhere, and them going, oh no, and then 150 pages later we get back to that war. It's just like
You count pages.
he
too much.
he just sidetracks so much, and it's hard to stay focused on
There was
any
a
one
focus of
character.
world building more than plot.
It was a lot
Yeah.
of that. Yeah, it was a lot of that.
I bet a really good editor could turn in a nice.
Perhaps.
It would be-
novel out of these two. That would be really good.
It's like he tried to make 17 books and he just chopped it up into one, all taking place in the same world. I seriously did get some people confused, because I can't remember. I was reading about one person. I thought what's he doing? Oh, that's the guy from the something. And I did, because it'd been so long, I'd totally forgotten who that was.
Yeah.
And their names aren't that memorable except for the ones we learned. Now, the only storyline that I was able to latch onto this time was Ozzy's, oddly enough, because it's so different
Still
from
like
everyone else's.
Well, yeah.
And we talked about that last time.
Right.
But I want to go with that one because I really cannot remember. There's noise in the background. There's a war with, multiple, what are they called? Opening up. Wormholes opening up, where Morning Light Mountain's attacking them.
Right.
They're on an all-front attack. Nigel's there a little bit helping out, but there's a billion other people in
Right.
different areas.
Okay, so
attending to the situation.
Nigel is his world where it's basically the home base of all the wormhole generators,
Right.
that go to all these different planets. It's being attacked, and so he takes control of the network. And
how much time has gone past? Because it feels like
that's where you
that's where I'm so confused. Because
The books
feels
are over like 3 years.
about 3 years.
okay. Because did it say that, and I
No,
just missed
they
it?
never say anything about how much time passes.
The only
but
thing-
obviously enough, because they spent so many years getting ready for this. I'm like,
Right.
wait, when did they do
When
that?
Ozzy returned, he made the comment that 3 years have passed, but for him it was only 18 months.
Right.
And that was the only thing.
Oh, okay. Was that toward the end when he made it out?
And
of
then
the,
and in the very end,
I missed that then.
The last
But
quarter
the
of
thing
book
is, though,
took
that's
place
toward
over,
the
like,
end.
day.
That's toward the end of the book, though.
Yeah.
You're talking the very end.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, the whole time I had to assume, because he started talking but at first I thought no time had passed, or regular time had passed. And so when they're talking about they've had years of research or something like this, he mentioned a comment of years of research or preparing for this, and went, wait, then you knew about Morning Light Man. That's what I thought they were saying. But
No,
then
just-
they didn't know about it, but they'd found out because the mission that we read about in the last book took place 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, about
But
2
they
years, I
never,
think.
but they never mention that. It's just everything's talked about way past tense. And I felt like and that's where a lot of my confusion came from, because it felt like I'd missed up something. And I was
would
like,
say this:
what?
you were probably distracted because while people were trying to figure stuff out, they would get really horny and go do it a lot.
There was a lot of sex.
And I'm just trying to think. It's like there's more important things to focus on, people. The alien is invading. You're being shot at right now. Why are you ripping each other's clothes off?
Hold on.
sci-fi book.
There's another one. Murphy, is that his name?
Morton,
Morton gets thawed out.
right?
But for him, and see, this is where there's a time jump somewhere in the beginning, in the middle. That's where the time jump takes place. Because for him, he said how many. He's only served a couple months.
Yeah,
in cryo, they said. Because he said
about
how many years has
months.
it been? And they said 30. And then he starts laughing. He said, "What happened?" Because he
Yeah.
knows they're bringing him out for a reason.
Right.
But he hadn't even. Okay, maybe they did say 13 months. 'Cause I remember
think
they
it was
never
13.
said year. They never said a year or two. Because he said how many years, and then they respond in months, and he starts laughing and says, "What happened?" You know. So the thing is, I'd assumed just months had gone by. But then, as we and I'll be honest, we don't follow Morton the whole time. We jump to a billion other people.
Yeah.
And then we get, and it's something, I believe it's something from Nigel that says they've been studying some type of countermeasure for X amount of years. Like, when did they do that?
Well, the one I think you may be referring to
Was
is,
it? Now, it
is
could be
the,
wrong. It could be Nigel.
It's
Could
the
be someone else.
drives, the hyperdrive systems.
Maybe
that they're coming up with
something
for
they
the
were
engines.
working on, and it could
His
have been.
family has been working on these for a long time.
No, it was something in preparation.
anticipation for if something
maybe
happens.
so, maybe
they have
so.
these arc ships that they've been working on.
Oh, that's another thing. The Starfire, is that what its name is? What was the ship that everyone doesn't know exists but knows it?
Starflyer.
But it does, Starflyer. Mm-hmm. I still don't understand that.
Okay, so it's not just me.
Okay,
I don't understand the Starflyer at all.
We're not even going to try to go in order on this. Let's
I
just
can't.
give kind of a roundabout.
So
thing.
So give me the Starflyer first.
Okay,
I still don't
the
understand that.
Starflyer was a portion of Morning Light Mountain that 10,000 years ago or so, before the barrier went up, had gone out to Dyson Beta. And then they didn't know, or Morning Light Mountain didn't know that Dyson Beta, the aliens that went over there, encountered another alien race and absorbed and controlled them, but changed just enough to be a little bit more adaptive. Well, whenever they saw the barrier on Dyson Alpha go up, he tucked tail and ran to get out of there before the barrier around Beta went up, because he saw it coming. Well, he ends up crashing on the planet far away. And then he sends a flare bomb into the sun, and that's what attracts the humans to that planet. And then he infiltrates the humans and has gotten away from that planet. So the spaceship that is on far away, the planet, is the Starflyer's spaceship.
So why does no one believe in that?
Because they don't think it can happen.
Okay.
Nobody ever saw it. Bradley Johansson was one of the
But
first
Ozzy knows.
technicians. Well, he was one. Bradley Johansson was one of the first technicians that went over there. He got infected, and it never says why, but he decides to go walk the Sylphan paths. And whenever he finds the end, they cure him, but he still remembers being infected. So that's when he decides to go on his crusade to out the Starflyer, but nobody believed him. But he was able to talk to Ozzy, and Ozzy's like, okay, cool. And that's whenever they set up the whole wormhole heist.
Right. Okay. So the wormhole heist. I'm glad you brought that one up.
That's a fun little
What
tidbit.
does?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be in there just for fun because Nigel shot that was Ozzy, and Ozzy reveals it was him.
Right. Well, that's how Bradley Johansson gets his monetary backing. So they
okay.
the original wormhole.
I missed that connection.
The
then.
original wormhole generator that Ozzy and Nigel
right
built was in a museum,
and it got
so
stolen.
No.
They
go in and bring up the barrier that's supposed to protect it, but they're on the inside, so all the cops are sitting there watching them do this, and they can't do anything about it. And so they get the wormhole generator working and send it to a bank vault at a casino and steal all these banknotes, untraceable banknotes and everything. Bring
Right.
it back in, open up another wormhole to some undisclosed place, and take it all out there and go with it. And then when the battery runs out on the barrier generator that keeps
Right.
them in, they're gone.
Right.
And that's how Johansson is bankrolled.
Funded his. Yeah, got it. Okay.
And then that's what. And then Ozzy admits to Nigel later on that because they said, how in the world did they have the knowledge
Yeah.
to know how to operate that thing? And Nigel's like,
That's when he puts it together.
and Ozzy
Yeah.
was one of the guys that
Yeah, and
that stole
Ozzy
the
just
money.
smiles. Yeah.
He,
Because thought it'd be
didn't do it
fun.
for the money. He just did it.
No, he did
He
it for the heck
fun.
of it. Yeah.
Okay, so Ozzy, I can hold on to this storyline. He meets an alien. Mm-hmm. He gets to ask his questions.
Right.
I don't know what the answer is. I
We're
think
not
the
going to
answer
tell
is
you because we're not going to get
Basically, they said that the
Yeah.
Sylphan did not put up the barriers. It was another ancient race
right.
named
Right.
the Animime, who, since they put up that barrier, went post-physical. Part of their race decided to transcend to a post-physical
Right.
state, and the other part of the race decided to descend into an agrarian society that shuns all technology, and they do not. They haven't been found by humans, and the Sylphans aren't telling them where they are.
Right. Now, this person, their name is that he meets, and he accompanies
Cloud
them.
Dancer, I think, is who it
Is
is.
it Cloud Dancer? Is that his name? He is ignorant of human life
No, not really.
No.
Just
or how
blasé
humans
about
live.
it.
He's above it.
No, who's the? All right, then I'm forgetting. No, I'm asking who is. It's Ozzy and Orion. Is that correct?
Okay.
Who's
the other guy
Orion's
that's hanging
kid?
with them?
Yeah,
Tochi.
Tochi.
He's an alien.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The
He's
alien
a completely unknown alien to the human race.
that they find,
in the Ice Citadel,
Right.
on the Sylphan Paths,
and he decides to join them. Mm-hmm. Why?
because he's trying to get out of the Ice Citadel. He was
Got
stuck
it.
there, and he thought that Ozzy and Orion were his best chances. And
Remember,
He
a
was
wrestler.
fun.
Yeah.
yeah,
He
But
was fun. My
At the same
favorite.
time, kind of like pointless to the story of the book.
Well,
a little bit.
Yeah, but Orion needs someone to interact with while Ozzy does his thing because Ozzy is kind of breaking on his own character and Orion just can't hang out.
Right.
So he needs someone to watch those channels that Ozzy thought he blocked. and then
The thing is-
Orion falling in love with every girl that's old and
Oh, yeah.
everything is he's,
No, she's just
he's-
being nice
he's-
to you.
He's Matt from The Wheel of Time, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what now I'm liking him. And then when he meets that girl at the
Melanie.
at the day club or whatever,
Yeah.
and he falls in love with her. That whole thing's pretty funny too.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really funny is when Chachi sees her, he goes, "Oh, is this the unbelievable blank blah blah?" He's like, "No!" that got me laughing.
Yeah.
That got me laughing. So that was enjoyable, the Orion Tochi, even though you're right that it's not relative to the storyline.
No.
But I needed something to laugh at because I couldn't
Yeah.
understand anything else.
Again, those were
Besides
enjoyable
Ozzy's
moments.
story.
Those were enjoyable.
I could follow that because it was separated itself and he kind of climbed
Well, because
out.
he didn't really interact with any of the other characters, and so you didn't have to know where those characters.
But there were so many characters that were. That's the other thing. A lot of these characters were the same type of people. To me, they were. Not everyone, but a lot of them.
I feel like
but I mean,
I may have been
Or
that
they were
confused at the first
uninteresting.
time I read it. And
I don't know. But anyway, now I'm going to get to Ozzy and Nigel meeting together. Is there anything? There's a ton of stuff before it, but I just don't know it. So anything
we've gotten-
relative. Because that's when the story kind of has some type of a focus where Ozzy gets caught up on what's going on because he's been out for a while.
Right.
Oh, you're
Gets
right. Maybe that is
blackout
when
drunk.
they talk about the year. Now that I think about it, because he asked how long, and to him it only been. Got it.
Right.
Yeah. No, I do remember that now. Never mind. But so Nigel fills him in on it. They're trying to fight this war. The war's being fought over on and off over the. That's the other thing. This war is going on, and then they cut to people who are living at home, going to work every day, asking if they're going to be impacted by the war. No, it's on the other side of the
galaxy.
And I'm reading the paper, drinking my coffee, and I'm like, I don't know why we're doing this.
Because so there were 23 worlds in completely different star systems all over the place that were invaded, but all the other ones were not invaded. So life is going on for these people.
Let me put this in Star Wars terms. It's like the Death Star blew up Alderaan, and then we go to 2 Ewoks fishing on Endor who are talking about how cold the water is. That's kind of how... That's kind of how this... And it had nothing to do... they'd mention it. Ewoks said, hey, did you hear that? What, like 10 million voices crying out at once and then solar science? Yeah. Weird, right? Yeah. You want to go fishing? Sure. I don't know. It just felt like it was off to me, and it threw you off on because even the grand finale of this thing was spread out in between. They'd get on the war a little bit, then they'd go off to someone who wasn't even touched by the war. But I didn't understand where that connection was coming from. He just wanted to show different points.
I think he just was trying to show off his world.
Well, he should have been showing off a story.
Yeah, he should have had an editor come in and say, no, focus.
Focus. Here's your Adderall.
Yeah. But so anyway, it get to the end. They defeat Morning Light Shadow Mountain Face.
Now, the thing
Rainbow
is, midway through the book, they have some really dominant victories.
Yeah.
No,
that's scary.
Midway through the book, they do kind of defeat Morning Light Mountain. They blow up what they call Hell's Gateway,
right?
Which is kind of the staging planet that Morning
his
Light
entry
Mountain.
Point. Yeah.
Yeah. So they blow that up, and now their plan is to go to the Dyson pair and blow up their star and kill them.
And Ozzy just wants to turn it back on. He doesn't want to commit genocide.
Ozzy wants to turn on the generator.
Yeah, they have
instead of committing genocide.
They have he and Nigel have a big argument about that. That's correct.
So that the Morning Light Mountain part is kind of over, except for whether or not they genocide
what they do
the
now.
Primes.
Yeah, that's one of the problems is how it's going to end halfway through the book. It's just only how they're going to get there, because they show dominance in battle really early. So I wasn't scared for humanity leading into the final battle, because it was like, okay, we've actually got the technology to beat this guy. It's just how we're going to do it.
That's true. Where's the threat?
Well, the threat now is
the next 300 pages.
No, the threat is the Starflyer, which is a prime motile.
Yeah. But I never understood that. I understand now that you explained it to me, but while reading it, I just could not understand the significance of it, and I couldn't understand everything. Who was the girl that kept calling herself stupid the whole time? Because everyone knew it but her.
Pansy?
And who is that?
She was...
Was she in the first book?
She was the porn star in the first book that she got... That Melanie ran into whenever she was selling the story of Morton's murder intrigue and stuff like that.
Goodness gracious, she's featured in this one more than... She's mentioned first in the first book, but she has more dialogue than Melanie, and Melanie... Doesn't she?
No.
See, I got them mixed up.
She ends up being basically tied to the Rael alien that can read the memories. He's basically addicted to reading memories and human emotion and stuff. And he wants to go and experience all the human emotion.
Who is dating Dudley?
Melanie. Melanie was just screwing him so that she could get information and basically say, I have access
and see,
to
Dudley was
Bowes.
And maybe he was like this in the first book too, but he was just so insecure and kind of annoying.
Well, he was re-lifed.
Yeah. Well,
right.
He was missing,
and I know that. And he got to meet
portion.
his... Yeah. Oh, we should mention there's the robotic Dudley or whatever.
Yeah, the motile.
The motile
the
Dudley.
That has Dudley's
the Morning
memories.
Light Mountain, vivisected.
Yeah.
Found the...
He comes back and they get to meet.
And was able to, after killing him, was able to kind of put him
that was in this book. I forgot about that.
And so that he was able to learn about humans and what they did and what they could do. And that's how he learned about the wormholes and all that stuff.
Right.
I brought M&Ms just so we could enjoy this conversation.
That's what I have whiskey for.
Okay.
I hear that gluck, 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 gluck.
Is there...
That's me pouring whiskey.
So it ends...
Well,
That's it. We'll see you next time.
no.
Okay. I don't have anything else to say. I just...
Well, there's a few important characters. So
unfocused. It was just so unfocused. But go ahead. Go ahead.
So there's a few important things. So this whole time that Paula Mayo, the investigator, has been chasing Bradley Johansson and trying to get him, and turns out he's been right the whole time. But Adam Alvin, who is the arms dealer who was responsible for the blowing up at the train station 300 something years ago, she can't let that go. He's guilty. He killed people.
Right.
Well, she has to refrain from arresting him this whole time because he is vital to the success
plan
of the mission of getting the Starflyer from taking off. And
as we mentioned in the last book, that's hard for her because that is in her DNA.
Right.
That is what she's supposed to do. That is what that is her calling. That's what she's meant to do.
Right.
She
But
has to go
can't
against
arrest
everything.
him.
Right.
So basically her
I
body...
didn't get that struggle, though.
Her body goes into shock because she's having to stop herself from arresting him. And she starts basically dying. She's not eating. She's not drinking. They're trying to get... They're on this 3-day chase to catch the Starflyer before he gets to his ship. And they've got this whole plan to use the weather on the planet. So this goes all the way back to the first book with Justine and the hypergliders going over the mountains and stuff like that.
Right.
They're using that weather system that creates that situation, and they're going to direct it with basically force fields to basically knock the spaceship out of the air as it's trying to take
That's
off.
fair. To be honest, I do remember that now, but I'd forgotten that from the first book.
Okay.
I do remember that now.
Yeah.
I do remember that now.
So they've got Wilson Kime, who is now the ex-admiral, but he's a pilot. Oscar Monroe, who is also a pilot, and Anna Kime, who's Wilson's wife, also pilots. So those three are the ones that are going to set up the observation on the top of one of the big mountains so that they can use the weather information and stuff like that to... Anyway, it's a little convoluted.
Because there's also somebody's a mole or somebody's
It
a
was
traitor.
very
And
convoluted.
they have a
very
mole.
convoluted.
There was a Judas.
Yes, there is a
Right.
Judas.
There is a Judas.
Yeah.
That is true. And he is unchained. That's true.
Yeah. So just before they're about to take off, Paula Mayo figures out who it is. Turns out Oscar was friends with Adam Alvin whenever the train station blew up, and he was part of the group that planned that. He felt super guilty about it, changed his life, went on to do fine, but of course Paula's not going to be able to let it go.
Right.
But she can't do anything about it again because he's in the hyperglider. So finds out that because of that, Alvin trusted him. He couldn't be the Starflyer agent. It has to be Anna. And so they all take off and everything, and Wilson's trying to get up there and everything. Oscar sacrifices himself and crashes into Anna's hyperglider. And Wilson ends up crashing onto the top of the mountain, and he's like paralyzed from the waist down, but completes the mission.
Right. Mission completed.
Right. And they knock the Starflyer out of the air. Johansson goes back and confronts the Starflyer, and they die together. And yeah.
Yeah. And next week we're reading See Spot Run.
Because we need something simple for these guys to be able to understand.
I was gonna give you that one. I just was lost. I was just lost on a lot of that, which is what I had a problem with. Bruce, what was your? Did you have problems with it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it was, again, the unfocus. You're in the middle of doing something, and then you're going to switch into something completely unrelated, and because
not just unrelated, not just unrelated.
Think it's unrelated.
Well, maybe it helps
not just unrelated, but it doesn't push. I didn't feel like it pushed the overall story arc at all.
Okay,
I'll give you that.
I'll give you that. It doesn't necessarily push the storyline, but not everything has to push the storyline.
When you're at the climax of your story, yeah. It does.
I want to figure out what's going on, and you keep changing scenes to the point to where, I'm losing focus.
It's like I'm trying to watch the game. You keep changing the damn channel. I just want to see what the play was. Turn it back.
No.
And you turn it back, and I've already skipped a few down, so I don't know what's going on. Once I get caught, I'm like, okay. Then you change it again. And I'm like, what are you doing? It's like he has ADD in his own book. He can't write about just one character for 2 back-to-back chapters or one epic event, because that mission is very important. Yet it's spread out over all these little other things that come here and there. And I'm like, you could have put these either somewhere else. And then it went a little bit long in the tooth at the end. A little bit too drawn out.
Yeah, the whole 3-day chase was a little much.
That was a little much. Some of it could have been, a lot of
they
it
get called on that like halfway point where they got to take the carbon goose or something like that and fly a 10-hour flight.
And they're doing all that. You're like, okay, what's going on? Are they finding stuff along the way? Is he going to go back and say, oh wait, that thing we saw back there that unlocks? No, it was just that we just want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Like each one, these are 800 something pages each. Is that correct?
Yeah, somewhere around.
Okay,
40
hours. They could have each
Yeah.
been half that, and we would have gotten the whole story.
Yeah,
There's just so much in there that doesn't need to be in there.
yeah.
So
This edited down would make a really good.
Yeah.
it would make a tighter
I'd say
story.
about four
Plus-
4-season show.
It's like pin the tail on a donkey and give me one character that we need to follow, that we need to care about. I don't care about any of those characters, by the way. I think they're all despicable characters. But
Wilson's pretty awesome.
Wilson probably, but we hardly get to see him that much.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, all of them...
Because he's not worried about what's going on in his pants while the universe is under...
He's the only one.
I don't know.
No, you're right. Orion... Oh, wait. No, never mind.
Not Orion.
Well, I'll be honest. I enjoyed, like I said, the Orion Tachi thing. I thought that was fun.
Yeah. Especially the very end when... So like Ozzy and Orion and Melanie and Tochi are back on the Sylphan
And everybody
Pass.
gets to sleep with Melody except Tochi.
Yeah. She probably would have been all for it,
She
too.
probably would have been.
Little whore.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I forgot about that.
But Orion and Melanie end up together, which is just one of the weirdest things.
that was weird. That was thrown
Yeah.
together last minute. And that's another thing I didn't...
He really cared for her. All these other men that she's with the whole time, they don't really care about her.
Yeah, but that was
But,
weird because
he's
it's
so
not...
sweet.
This one little teenage boy who's never been with anybody.
And that you
you're the
just
first
met.
person who he's ever with.
Yeah.
And he likes you a lot.
And he's going to dedicate his life to you. And,
Yeah.
no
It's like,
man
yeah.
has already said that to me. Well, yeah.
It's young
It's
love.
really dumb.
Yeah, conquers her whoredom.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, they go back on the Sylphan Paths. Ozzy can find them and everything like that. So, and they're with the Bose Motile, too.
Oh, right. Yeah. I forgot about the
And
Bose
so
Motel.
it starts out with Ozzy waking up and not having gotten any sleep and everything because Orion and Melody are in another tent just
Right.
banging all night long. And Tochi's like, why do y'all reference your deity when copulating or something like that?
See, Tachi's things are
Yeah.
kind of funny. That's what it's meant for. But everything else, you're like, well, okay.
Yeah. And then whenever they're going off on their separate path, Ozzy's like, man, they don't have 2 cents to rub together between the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like shaking his head. Kids today.
Yeah. Because they're both just completely, like, Melanie is
Yeah.
stupid. Like, she's just downright
Oh, she is
stupid.
dumb. And the thing is, that's the other thing. I was hoping that she would, because at the very beginning, we're told that.
Yeah.
You know, when she was Morton, right? At the beginning. She's just a young, doe-eyed nobody. Well, I thought, okay, well, finally, because when she calls her uncle along, this is in the first book, I thought, okay, well, we're going to see a story arc with her. She's going to be a stronger woman. When Morton sees her again, she's going to be the one all together now. She's got her life together, and she's helping him. You know, I thought that's what we were going to see there. No, she's dumb the whole way, which I guess is fun. I mean, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see no character development in over 600 pages of storyline. I didn't see that coming.
Right.
But, yeah.
She gets to sleep with everybody.
Yeah.
Like, she'll be sleeping with one guy at the beginning of the chapter, and then she'll be switching partners 2 or 3 times before the chapter's over with.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. Well, there it is. There it is.
Well, hey, we got to save the universe.
It was a dud. Dud for you guys. I enjoy it.
Well, you know what? Let's end with this. Why do you enjoy it?
Okay.
You go ahead and pitch this.
Okay,
I'm not doing a good job.
I came to this realization this week because after reading this, it's gotten me wanting. It's got me wanting. It has me wanting more, and so I started reading the Void trilogy,
which you really like.
It's way better.
Well, and I've
okay.
came across
So y'all's issue with him jumping from one character to another one, he doesn't do that in this. Now he does jump, but you get a lot of information with each one. It's not like just a few pages and then jump into somebody else's point of view from the same scene. It jumps to something completely different.
Okay.
So you don't get such small little bites. You get an entire chapter.
Does Morning Light Mountain come back?
No.
Well.
But the primes are referenced a lot.
What characters return in the Void trilogy? If any.
Oh no, you get a bunch. You get Justine, her dad Gore, Paula Mayo.
I remember Paula Mayo.
She's the investigator. This is 3,000 years later.
Oh boy.
So she, over the rejuvenations, has sequenced her OCD out so that she
they made the comment that they can do that.
Yeah. She decided that she did not want to, if she needed some gray area, she didn't want to go into shock.
Okay. So hold on. I realize we're and I moved us off that topic.
That's okay.
Right now, pitch the Commonwealth trilogy to listeners. I mean, duology.
Pitch it to them?
Yeah, pitch it to them. We just read because we didn't do. I didn't
really
do a good job
after
pitching
y'all
to
just
it.
got through
I know. That's why I'm giving you final word to pitch it and say, don't listen to these knuckleheads because
it's a huge world. Don't listen to it at 3 times speed.
I didn't.
Listen to it. I think it helps. Because I think one of the issues that you had, Matt, is that you started counting pages on how long it took to get back to somebody else.
Just because it was so long before we got to the other page.
But if you don't think about that, if you immerse yourself into each different story and then try to remember how it's going to come back into play, and this might be one of the issues with the first read. You can read the Void trilogy without reading this, and it might be easier to read this after reading the Void trilogy because you know some of these characters. Now, it ruins some of the suspense on do they survive, but if it's you two guys, y'all don't give a shit if they survive.
Okay.
It's a very big world. There's a lot of really cool concepts. You have to take a lot of them on faith until they are explained because there's very little exposition. You're not going to get full-on explanations of one particular thing. You don't know how a wormhole generator works. Of course, you don't really know how it works, but you just don't know how it's implemented. After the first time you hear about it, you're just like, okay. And you have to speculate on how they would use it until you get more information about it, which could be 300 or 400 pages later.
It is. All right. Well, that's good.
It's a big world.
So I'm going to leave it at this. I'm going to let all the listeners can decide. And I'll be honest, and I'm being completely honest. If you've read this duology before, if you're familiar with the series, or you decided to go ahead and defy my review of it and take Steven's side, I do want you to come back, and I do want you to comment on the YouTube channel here so I can get your comments. I do want you to explain to me why you did or did not like it. And I promise you, all those comments, whether good or bad, I'll give to Steven.
You don't want anything to do with it.
No. I'll just let you know. Like, hey,
Okay.
they agree with you or they disagree.
Okay.
But if you do read it, I want you to give it a fair shot, though. So give it a fair shot. You should go in there with an open mind. I've
It's
always
worth
been
it.
behind that.
Yeah,
He's
the thing
enjoyed
is,
it.
The basic story is good. That it's just there's just a lot of extra
You have to
stuff.
work for it. You really do. I mean, it's not a mindless read. It's not something that is going to be easy. It's not a simple story. It's very, very involved. I like books like that. I enjoy being able to reread it and being a little surprised and going, "Oh, I should have remembered that the first time I read it."
Yeah. Okay. Fair. All right. Good. Thank you. All right. So, hey, folks, that's it for now. We'll see you next time on Princes of the Universe.